The first and most often asked question is which brand has the best Class D amplifier, Hypex, Purifi or ICEpower? This topic needs more detailed answers than many other questions because we should define the meaning of good or ideal amplifier beyond emotional perceptions. In my case, we can find bold statements or even aggressive disagreements between forum opponents. There I took a good example where a potential customer staying in front of the final decision, having a popular dilemma choosing between one of the three brands. I will read it through. Hi Mr. Smith, it's me. Thank you very much for your quick answer. I knew my email was a bit long, but I dared to because my main intent is purchase from you my solution. The last point that makes me wonder how the 1200 ACE2 can be the best are. Number 1. It is 5-year-old technology, and I thought Class D is improving fast. Second, it's not big, for 2 times 620 watts with a power supply inside. Is it really as good as a Hypex SMPS 1200 A400 plus Purifi Evaluation 1 Eigentakt as shown in where it gives me a link to alternative unit? I know it's double the price of your solution, and I will not buy if it's just barely better, like 5%, and you have to stretch the air to notice. A potential customer is rational and critical thinking. But I'm very curious, and I want top gear, as a SCM19 are probably the best sealed bookshelf of this size, whatever the price. And the amp will be driven by the ATC CD A2 MK2 Pre-DAC CD. So, I would much appreciate an accurate answer to this. If I purchase this week, what is your price and delivery time to France for the TCR 1200 ACE2? Offer number 3. If you tell me Eigentakt solution is worth the case, do you sell it? Kind regards. So, what do you think about email and questions quality? Yes, it's a good, professionally written email with the necessary details. It also includes a holistic system description mentioning speakers and preamplifiers. It is easy for me to evaluate the total system performance and how the amplifier fits in it. Before I start to answer, I would like to show one more example of customer audio world and way of communication. Audio science review, the better the measurement, the better the sound philosophy. Audiophiles are snobs. YouTube features an idiot. He states with no equivocation that 5,000 and 10,000 speakers sound equally good and 500 and 5,000 integrated amps sound equally good. He is either deaf or liar or both. There is a state filled with posters like him called Audio Science Review. If a reasonable person posts, they immediately tear him down using selected words and or sentences from the reasonable posters as 100% proof that the audiophile is dumb and stupid with his money. They also occasionally state that the high-end audio equipment, cables, tweaks, sellers are criminals who commit fraud on the public. They often state that if something scientifically measures better, then it sounds better. They give no credence to measurable sound factors like PRAT and ambience. Some of the posters' music choices range from rap to hip-hop and anything pop-oriented created in the past from 1995. Have any of Audiogen or any other reasonable audio forum site posters encountered this horrible group of miscreants? Why I took this citation? It represents 2 important things. First, and I also want that in our conversation, avoid aggressive absolute truth tonality. It is better to logically explain your point of view and reflect on trustable sources like large manufacturer white papers, magazine publications, publications with author signature and proof of experience, scientific studies, and tests made by professionals. Second, nevertheless, the tonality of example is aggressive. There is an important moment that we will discuss further. Audio science reviews a lot concentrates on total harmonic distortion parameter, which in reality by far is not the most important specification item to describe audio amplifier performance. There are about 20 more parameters with a higher impact on sound quality than total harmonic distortions. In the audio lovers community, total harmonic distortions become a well-known specification parameter, and it is used on large scale as a key marketing argument. I would put similarities with digital photography, where the number of pixels become one of the key parameters for consumer pickup. But professionals knew that the old first-generation Canon D5 12-megapixel full-frame camera with good optics gives significantly better picture quality compared to the 24-megapixels mainstream small sensor camera even today. Another 20 camera parameters are answering why. Okay, let's come back to email and questions. The first step before answering the questions is collecting information about customer system. What potential customer has? He has best of the best ATC shelf speakers with proven quality confirmed by respectable magazine led by professionals in the music area and caring for magazine reputation. There is some credibility in this award. Giving speakers 5 stars is the rare case. The customer has advanced high-quality source, CD and DAC all-in-one from proven quality manufacturer, and we can trust provided specifications. It is state-of-the-art source with volume regulator and balanced outputs. It is a perfect match to my TCR 1200 kit and ICEpower 1200 Ace2 board. We will not go through specifications, but in general what is important? All specifications exceeding human hearing limits. And following the conclusion that even some devices may have tiny better specifications, human is not able to hear it. In other words, specifications are not important anymore, and we as a customer should concentrate on services implemented, build quality, how easy it is use it, do we have a local support, etc. Before we start to discuss audio amplifier quality, I would like to look at complete audio system starting with the humans, or in our case music lovers and listeners. It is scientifically proven that human is not able to hear cinewave distortions below 0.25%. To have some headroom, by the standard it is set at 0.1%. Scientifically means that there was a carefully set experiment with different groups of people selected by age, gender, race, geography, etc. And people were not able to answer at least with 70% repeatable tolerance which signal is distorted and which is not. Music sources and modern preamplifiers and digital analog converters also play a significant role because the digital analog conversion process is complicated. At the same time, most of today's proven manufacturers' units deliver outstanding quality exceeding human hearing limits. Modern audio amplifiers easily deliver exceptional total harmonic distortion performance, but not all of them sounds equally good. Mainstream speakers has a weak point of their total harmonic distortions of 1%. High-quality speakers barely exceeding the human hearing limit with 0.1% of total harmonic distortions. One more important parameter to know. Our hearing has logarithmic pattern. If you want to double sound pressure or speaker loudness, you need 4 times of the power. In simple. If you have 100 watt amplifier and you want to upgrade by the power to have extra headroom, next logical step is 400 capable amplifier. A typical often asked question is, I do have a 100 watt RMS speaker. Could I use ICEpower 1200 Ace2 board? The answer is that it is a perfect match for your speaker. 100 watt RMS speaker can easily withstand 4 times of music power, which is 400 watt, and you will have a perfect headroom for excellent playback. But be careful, 400 watt power and quality in the same box is not easy to find, and it will not be a cheap solution. It is complicated engineering task demanding a highest quality expensive power semiconductors produced by limited companies in the world. Don't be misled by professional amplifiers that are built for reliability and capability to work at clipping level, not for quality. This is customer considered Purifi Eigentakt amplifier. The integrated amplifier consists of 5 pieces, 4 electronic boards and enclosure. From an engineering point of view, it is a well-designed prototype and waiting for the final industrial integrated design. The market is saying that it is a good amplifier designed by leading-edge engineers. I 100% agree. Associated costs about 1,600 euros for end user plus shipping. Still in a frame of price for very good amplifier. Specifications 400 on 4 ohms and 200 on 8 ohms. Incredible total harmonic distortions, and we know that audio community is saying about a good amplifier describing criteria. Best total harmonic distortions. So immediate verdict, best in the world. and I want the best in the world for my money. I placed 1200 AS2 specifications side by side. Yes, on paper, Eigentakt is winning on total harmonic distortions. But let's take a closer look at the characteristics. Eigentakt characteristics of 1 kHz performance are excellent. No comments. But pay attention how much power away from clipping you have. 4 ohms clipping point is there, where total harmonic distortions is dependent on power applied. This is not an area of music listening. This is our headroom. Realistic usage power for 4 ohm system is from 1 watt to 250 watts. So, it is a great 250 watt audiophile amplifier for 4 ohm system, and just 130 watt power amplifier solution for an 8 ohm system. The core limitation is bus voltage. I would say that to meet audiophile requirements you need this amplifier in a bridged connection, and then stereo system costs are about 3k USD, and it is a bit overpriced. The high price is due to the lack of an industrial version of this solution. At the same time, ICEpower 1200 can provide about 450 watts clean power for 4 ohms and 8 ohms load. Output power is current limited, not bus voltage determined. And it has bridged architecture by design, which is a huge advantage over competitors. I have another video where I explained it in details. As many of my listeners knew, Purifi is engineering company and one of its specialization is next generation loudspeaker development. Could we trust Purifi engineers? 100%. They are extra class professionals with proven great design record from the past. It's not forum level source, it's a professional level credible information source. Let's read some important notes from their blog. I will not read all text, but just the most important part. In short, the only way you can get pressure from a moving piston is by making it push on air, accelerating it. Making a short pressure pulse then simply amount to pushing, accelerating for a very short time. That just shows how fallible our intuition is. Sound pressure doesn't correspond to cone position, not even to cone velocity. It corresponds to acceleration. So, now we can answer the question, what movement does a cone make when you ask it to put out an acoustic pulse? It accelerates during the pulse and then keeps coasting. What is important in this situation? Sound quality is all about the amplifier capability to accelerate the speaker membrane, or simply the amplifier's instant power capability. This capability depends on the amplifier power supply capability and output transistors reaction speed, as well as low amplifier output impedance or damping factor. Now of about 100 and more. Also, we should remember that total harmonic distortion tests are done on resistive load, which is an easy task for amplifier. But in real applications, due to the speaker crossover, you should drive complex impedance load consisting of inductors, capacitors and resistors. Total harmonic distortion parameters are not measured in real-life usage scenarios, and therefore could not be considered as a main sound reproduction tolerance parameter. There are a lot of similarities with car. Take the same car model with two engines. One has low horsepower and second has high horsepower. Both are capable to drive 90 km per hour. But there is a huge difference in how you can maneuver or accelerate at that speed. The same is about the amplifiers and speakers. There is a good test of amplifier capability. Take a piece of music with a dominant voice and tiny background saturated music. Raise the volume and listen to. Does voice start shadowing instruments or not? It's similar to car driving at 90 km per hour and its capacity for small but aggressive accelerations. In simple, amplifier capability reproduce tiny details in complex music scenario when your speaker's cone is already moving. Want the best music reproduction quality, you need instant power reserve and a fast, powerful output amplifier stage to react to complex loads. A properly designed bridget solution always sounds better than a single-ended one, because it is twice as fast as single-ended. Macintosh branded this solution as quadro-balanced. A good example of what I tested is ICEpower 125 AS6 third generation board. In single-ended it sounds good. In bridget it sounds excellent and meets audiophile requirements. And now let's take a look at the ICEpower 1200 Ace2 board, which in my opinion is the best power amplifier in the world when counting sound quality, footprint, efficiency, and architecture. It is built with an expert-level knowledge about amplifier and speaker interaction. First, the power supply instant power capability is 3.8 kilowatts. Storage capacitors are at the transformer secondary winding side, close to the amplifier output, keeping printed circuit board traces as short as possible. It is important because storage capacitors stored energy are the fastest energy contributor to transfer power and are capable for short time provide tons of amps. Switching mode transformer has just a couple of windings with low loss inside the transformer wires compared to conventional transformers which you often have in AB class designs. And I'm not even talking about transformer weight and material differences. Switching mode power supply storage capacitors are charged 50,000 times per second. For conventional transformers, just 50 times per second. The power supply is integrated into amplifier by design and is perfectly balanced for ultimate power transfer. And the last important design specific is quadro-balanced architecture at the design level. As I mentioned, properly bridged amplifier solutions are twice faster as single-ended solutions. Don't be misled by just two output filters. They have a complex design using two inductors on a single core. This board does not have direct competitors when we are talking about integrated design and quadro-balanced architecture. When considering just audio quality, then we have several good designs where we are not able to distinguish the difference in a live music listening. But when we take more parameters like audio quality, power supply architecture, integrated by design, quadro-balanced architecture, footprint, and price per solution quality, then 1200 Ace2 is unbeatable. It is the best integrated audio board in the world at the moment of year 2023. Hypex, Purifi, and many others are behind, at least today, and it is just for 450 euros per board, or about 650 euros for integrated solution. Why there is so little love to this board in the audiophile community? This board is killing high-end audio amplifier industry, which for a long time has been targeting niche customers with a high price and low volume strategy. It is an industry in which marketing focuses exclusively on nice enclosures, golden-plated connectors, large footprints, total harmonic distortion, quality messages, and feeling-oriented arguments. There is a strong marketing message that a good price solution is not able to produce outstanding audio quality. My argument is that price is function of scale, large scale, low price. About 50 years of focused hi-fi industry marketing created our perception how high-quality equipment should look like. And it is not easy to accept changes neither for industry, neither for a customer. This is why I made the TCR 1000 kit for those who want to build an amplifier with 21st century quality for a reasonable budget and transfer saved investment to the most critical item, speakers. Active cooling is making the design lightweight. Active cooling has temperature-regulated fan. For home usage, you can switch the fan off if you can control the environmental temperature, but our recommendation is to keep it working on minimum RPMs. Regarding competitors and other companies' kits, temperature control is important for amplifiers, and I took an example of how Hypex boards are implemented in a well-designed solution. There are large heatsink. I like this design. 8-channel amplifiers allow you to configure amplifiers in bridged configuration, making quadro-balanced design by pairs of them. One more proof that is important for the best audio performance. And the last topic in my long story is about the mains filters. There are a lot of buzz in forums that for great sound reproduction you need a filter mains voltage. In reality, for 99.9% of household cases, you don't need that. Maybe in some excessive industrial regions where you are living between power plants. There are standards of any industrial device to meet regarding noise that you provide back into the mains network. If your device is properly built, it is filtering noise at the input as well, and you have clean audio output. You can see that this filter box sample is expensive. What is inside? Filters on thin wire. For large power applications, you eliminating instant power capability for your amplifier power supply. Yes, I agree, it has negligible impact. My message is that for power amplifiers, such solution degrade your system instead of improvement. It would be considered for the preamp part, but in that case there are alternatives like UPS with 100% signal regeneration used in the computer industry for a fraction of price due to the scale of production. 3 things to remember from my long story. Sound is all about speaker cone acceleration, not about total harmonic distortion if you are below 0.1%. This is why total harmonic distortion is not the main parameter for a good amplifier. And this is also answering why active systems are better than passive ones. Speaker direct connection to amplifier output avoids losses in crossover filter and allows more control and better cone acceleration. Amplifier power supply quality has a high impact on sound quality, and it is the most expensive part of modern audio amplifier design. Quadru-balanced design, a properly bridged solution is better than a single-ended. Could you recommend the best speaker cable for your kit? What is hidden in this simple question? The audiophile community developed this topic up to esoteric level and has 2 polar opinions. One, that the speaker cable does not have a critical impact on sound, and the second is that those are extremely important and you can hear cable impact. Cost variations of those cables are dramatic. In my answer, I will explain the basic principles of cables and touch topic base level, leaving esoteric areas for advanced experts. There is drawing from the ICEpower engineering workbook addressing the topic of speaker cables. First, 2 separate cables are bad from electromagnetic compatibility point of view. Your system is working like a transmission antenna and creates a lot of electromagnetic noise. There is nothing about sound quality yet, but this solution is unacceptable. Second, 2 parallel cables are acceptable but not excellent yet. Third, 2 or more twisted wires have 5 stars in this recommended speaker cable format. Fourth, specialized shielded speaker cables for applications in low electromagnetic noise environments like measurement labs. The great and most affordable solution for you is the 3rd version. Here I wrote good speaker cable basic characteristics. It should be short as possible, but not shorter than you need. Typically something between 3 and 6 meters. Copper core for minimum cable resistance, to not lose power in cable. Not all industrial cables have a copper core. You should purchase a verified manufacturer cable and read the specifications. Twisted. You can take 2 wires and twist them with a cordless drill. That's how I'm making my speaker cables. Stranded for flexibility. 1.5 square millimeter copper core will be more than okay for any power consumer systems up to 6 meters. Strong connector spring. You should not go for the most expensive speaker connectors. The spring mechanism is the most important feature of your chosen connector. There are 2 words where you can look for your speaker cable. The first is the audiophile addressed market, with a broad variety of offerings and nice looking cables. They do the job. There I took a couple of examples on how those cables look and how much they cost. There is a nice looking cable from Amazon, and costs for 2.5 meter are significant. You can see several connector options and adapters. Another nice looking cable. Some notes about the world's most expensive audiophile cable. I don't recommend it for your product, it's just to understand the price range of the emotional industry. Another version of audiophile cable which I not recommend. Why? You're right, it is not twisted. Mainstream cheap audio cable, usable but not twisted. Carefully check the internal copper diameter. Some of those cables have thick plastic insulation and thin copper diameter. Copper diameter is most important. Some advanced version of previous, not twisted, but usable. For my experience, I'm building a lot of speaker cables, and after experimenting with different connectors, I picked this one due to the excellent spring load mechanism capable withstand multiple connections. Plastic cover minimizes short circuit during multiple connections and demos. If you purchase them in volumes, price is negligible. From my practice, it is good, reliable connector, and I'm recommending it for your project. How about alternatives from the professional world? The first professional world is standardized. And professional connector is really great, and it works for any power, it's reliable. The key question is, what is the difference between a cheap connector and expensive connector? They look the same. In a simple, cheap connectors are meant for studio applications, what is related also for your home applications when you do couple of connections during the year. Expensive ones meant for a live performance, and in worst case scenario, I would say it is 720 connections per year, and they should withstand them in high humidity, in low temperature, in high temperature, and should be reliable connector for a long time. Then those are expensive, and price ranges from €1 to €10 if you buy them in volumes. Here I pick large professional equipment seller, Homan. He has great prices, and you can see plenty of cables for reasonable price. And one important thing, as I mentioned, for home user, it's okay with 1.5 millimeters. And you can see that 10-meter cable, what you cut in half, and you can build stereo cables for €20. Those will be professional, those will be flexible, those will be reliable, very, very good cables. If you are fanatic and you have high power applications, you can pick 2.5 millimeter cables. Not a big difference, even 20 meters. It's a mainstream. So you can buy such a cable and build number of speaker cables. Any, even cheapest one in professional world is suitable for a home user. Any cable. Pick a price, availability, delivery, weight. You can see that in stock, everything is in stock. Longer, shorter. Actually, there are two standards for professional equipment. You can see it's 6.5 millimeter TRS and Nutric. So, perfectly standardized. But I mentioned, buy this cable and build whatever you want. Those who are eager for B-amping. For B-amping, you can take another version of this cable. Depending on the length, price is higher, but you can get excellent cable for B-amping. Everything is here in a professional world, and I recommend it. And what I want to recommend from this speaker cable choice, it should be short, should be copper, twisted, stranded, at least 1.5 square millimeter copper gauge, and strong connection spring. About the connectors, take ones with the best spring mechanism quality. And from the professional, all of them are suitable for your application, and you will not hear a difference between them. Choose the right gauge and spend reasonable money. What preamplifier do you recommend for your kit? Let's first set some framework to limit and group our choices. First is budget. You can purchase audibly almost non-distinguishable different digital analog converters preamplifiers for following budget steps. €200, €1,000, €5,000 and €15,000. Software, drivers, production volumes. Third, volume regulator, remote control. And the last one, connectors. XLR, RCA, both. Here I took Audiophile world. And you can see that you can buy devices for 10K, for 3K, for 8K, for 30K, for 15K, for 6K. Audiophile world is crazy. It's really crazy. Then I took a good brand, what is a long time in the market, where I see reasonable price for the products, and you can see there is for 500, 550 with volume regulator, and then it's advanced for 1050. You can see this is rather excellent device. They have all connectors, they have networks, everything, software inside, easy to work. What is inside, it's nicely built, conventional power supply. And there is one what I think has price, quality and services sweet point, and it is built with a design for large volumes. It's a relatively nice price from Cambridge, all possible connections but nothing more, all possible management systems, and you can digital inputs and analog outputs, you have balanced outputs, you have RCA outputs, it works from worldwide from the mains. This is very good example when product is engineered for a right price and best quality. You can see all the chassis are simple, but all boards are built for robotic manufacturing. They fit in size, all cables are placed properly. Nice plastic, nice stamped plastic, super simple chassis, and as a result you get a great price for excellent money. So, my recommendations. For budget, use professional audio interfaces. Those are produced in high quantities and have universal functions for recording and sound production. The limitation is USB bus power capability, limiting the maximum output level to 3.8 volts. But it is sufficient to drive ICEpower 1200 AS2 at maximum power for 8 ohm load. I'm using Zoom UAC2. It's not the best in specification, but it has very good build quality and a good long-lasting volume regulator. Typically the weak point of such devices. What is inside? Professional large volume production design. Specifications, all that you need. How does the device measures? Average. But the funny thing is that I'm using this device for demo purposes. I never had a customer complaints about audio quality. Focusrite is good alternative with kind of better specifications but lower build quality. How it looks inside, good, aesthetic, volume product. Audio Science reviewed, and you can see that it measures better THD than Zoom. For source, total harmonic distortions matters, but as I said, most probably you will not be able to hear a difference. At least me and my customers can't. My next pick is Cambridge CXN version 2 for about €1,000 budget. It is standalone integrated streamer with an Android device control. A remote is also included. Streamer has excellent characteristics. I have tested this unit and it sounds amazing. It is volume product as well. I will not stop on specs because all is perfect. It measures excellent all around. Stop the video and read customer feedback by yourself. I would like to finish my presentation by reminding you about audio systems total harmonic distortion figures. Be pragmatic and don't make your choices based on wrong God.